This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell. Presented by PWFEmpire.com with your hosts, Charlie Feast, Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live. Thank you guys for tuning in to the show tonight. We are emanating from PWFEmpire.com, and we welcome each and every one of you. I'm Jay, and I'm joined in the hosting panel tonight by co-host of PWTR, Duke. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going amazingly well, and of course I'm joined by my my steadfast co-host here, Evan. Say what's up to the people.
Hey Jay, I'm not feeling a little too well today, so sorry if my voice sounds a little bit different. Sorry if I'm just a little bit off kilter today. I know my adoring fans have been waiting for me in the chat, and sorry I didn't get a chance to address everyone, but saying hi now. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you said you don't sound like yourself. You don't look like yourself either. You know, maybe it's because you're sick or something, because I know when I'm sick I don't usually feel like myself, so I completely understand.
Well, I might be changing color a little bit.
Alrighty, guys, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We have a big story, though. The big story that we have to get to, first and foremost, of course, the Beast making his return to WWE, Brock Lesnar. The setup on Monday Night Raw was that the Authority was going to name the new #1 contender for Seth Rollins' WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and at the end of the night, we found out exactly who that person was, Brock Lesnar. And without saying a word at all, not him, not Paul Heyman, the friggin' wrestling world is excited, and I have to say, I'm joined right along with that excitement. The mere presence of Brock Lesnar on Raw was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best things, or no, the best thing that happened in the WWE main event scene in weeks. And I'm glad to see he's back right now.
I think a little bit tame, though.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Tame when he came aggressive and some chaotic. That when he came back, I think I was expecting something more like that, and he kind of just came out.
So you said you were expecting him to do a little bit more?
I was expecting him to be a little bit more on a rampage, you know, like when he left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see,
my thing there, though, is, like, he got what he wanted when he came back. He got everything that he wanted there. So I think for him to go on a rampage might have actually, like, cost him what he already got. So I think he kind of learned a little bit, and I think we're seeing a little bit of maybe a character evolution that's not necessarily being, like, just spelled out as, oh, the character's evolving, but you're supposed to kind of see into it.
See, that's something that I honestly didn't even think about, like the way that he left WWE. But if we all put it into perspective, like, the reason why he was pissed off is because he felt as if he was screwed out of the World Heavyweight Championship, and now this time around he's getting exactly what he wanted. And I'm in the position where it's like, I'm just glad that you're back. And this, the way that Monday Night Raw ended, it left me wanting more from Brock Lesnar. And like I said, the mere presence of Brock Lesnar was better than anything that I've seen from the main event scene in weeks. So I am, like, turning my critical brain off when it comes to Brock Lesnar. I'm like, fuck yes, he's back. We get to see this guy again, and shit is about to get real. Shit is definitely about to get real.
I mean, I'm glad to see him back too, but I don't know. Yeah, my brain was off when he came out, but then it's been like 2 days. I've been thinking about it, and I'm kind of upset because when he left, Stephanie McMahon said that whole thing to him where he's like, "We own you, you're our bitch," or whatever it is she said. And now you see Heyman shaking hands with whoever he shook hands with. Like, was it Triple H probably? I don't know. I hope they address that. I hope they address that Brock had some feelings about that. I mean, he had to have, right? He's not anyone's bitch.
Well, see, oh, go ahead this time.
Well, I know on one hand they did kind of address what happened with Michael Cole, with him beating the shit out of Michael Cole and his attempted murder. Like, I guess they settled it with the lawyers. I think this is one of those things, honestly, though, where it's like, because wrestling, where you're not even supposed to think about it. I don't think that WWE is too intricate and things like that. Like, I think that that's pretty much it. They probably don't even want you to ask those questions right now.
See, I think the interesting thing they could also do there is, what if when we get into this whole situation and Brock Lesnar actually does win the championship? Still don't think he will, but if he actually does end up winning that championship from Seth Rollins, then does he start to do that thing? Because now he's the champion. They can't do shit to him. Like, he's already got the championship. Now they have to deal with him until he's lost that championship, and in Brock Lesnar's mind, that's not going to happen. So is that something that he's looking at from a personal standpoint of, I'm going to bide my time? It's going to be one of those things they'll have to tread carefully with if they're going to bring it up.
It's also strange to me that the Authority doesn't seem to mind having Lesnar as the champion. Maybe I should turn my brain off, but I don't know. It just bugs me because isn't Rollins their guy? Why on earth would they want to subject Rollins to Lesnar? And I know Triple H gave the whole explanation, but I don't know. It was kind of a little bit shoehorned to me, and I accept it. It's good enough, but you know.
That's also something that I'm questioning. Do they actually believe, like, of course we're talking in kayfabe terms here, do they actually believe that Seth Rollins has it within him to defeat Brock Lesnar? I think that's an interesting question, because the way that it seemed on Monday Night Raw, it's like Seth just pissed off the Authority, and they're like, you know what, fuck it, we're about to throw this guy under the bus. So maybe it's a situation where they are throwing him under the bus, but they're acting as if they have confidence in him. But putting him up against somebody like a Brock Lesnar, that's pretty much a death sentence right there. That's saying that we know you're going to get your ass kicked, but do they know what Brock Lesnar as champion could possibly mean to them and the WWE as a whole? So I think right now, this has definitely piqued my interest in the World Heavyweight Championship picture. Couldn't possibly get any worse than what it was before. So I say I'm all for it. I'm all for the return to Suplex City. And Seth Rollins, you better get your shit ready, because at Battleground, I guess we shall see. I don't even know what's going to happen, but it's definitely going to be interesting. Alrighty, before we go ahead and move on to buy or sell, Duke, you listened to the last episode of PWTR, correct?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead and let the people know some of the things that they discussed on the show. It's kind of like a teaser if they didn't tune in.
Well, we had a lot of really stupid things said by Justin. So if you like listening to Manny try and battle his way out of a hole, you're going to have a lot of fun with this show. They touched on a piece of shit wrestler. I'm not going to name names right now, but you'll know who I'm talking about here in a little bit. And overall, they just kind of talked about everything. It was actually kind of a fun show to listen to. And I guess I kind of made an appearance. I didn't really do the show because, I mean, look what they did to me the week before. That shit's ridiculous. So maybe I'll make an appearance next week.
You definitely made it sound fun. Yeah, so go ahead and check PWTR out on PWFempire.com. Also, something you could check out on PWFempire.com. PWF Empire Anarchy. I noticed that, like, I went on YouTube, and I'm just that type of person. You know, I go on YouTube and search PWF Empire, and it was like PWF Empire Anarchy was popping up as one of the auto searches. You cannot find it on YouTube. The only place that you can find it is on PWFempire.com, and that link is PWFempire.com/anarchy. If you don't know what that is, basically PWTR, PWF Empire Live, we joined forces and we had a fucking awesome time. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. And an update on the PWF Empire Live hosting contest. It is coming down to the wire. We have our finalists, determined. And what we're attempting to do now is narrow it down to that one person that is going to join Evan and I on PWF Empire Live. Evan, do you have any things that you're looking for in a potential co-host for the show?
Well, I think in a co-host, what you want on a show like this is someone with like a really analytic mind, someone who can analyze wrestling from the standard that the audience has come to expect, which is a very logical, very analytic kind of viewpoint. And, someone with brown hair, maybe.
Brown hair? That's
I could use some of the show.
That's weird. It seems like I know a guy like that.
Oh, well, longer brown, maybe like more curly, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I do know a guy with curly brown hair.
Maybe longer brown hair.
Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and continue on that search, and we'll let you guys know with any updates that we possibly have. Now, let's go ahead and move on to buy or sell now. We're going to continue the discussion about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture because from what I see, I look at the field and I see a bunch of, how can I put this? A bunch of weak-ass pansies, and I see Brock Lesnar, and we see what happened in the main event segment of Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins was trembling in fear at the sight of Brock Lesnar. He gets out of the ring, and he walks off. Now, he can't do too much walking because come Battleground in a few weeks, he will face off against Brock Lesnar with his WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line. I have said many times before that I'm not excited about Seth Rollins' title reign, that he's been a pretty bad champion. He's had some not so stellar challengers as well. But the question that we have in front of us right now is, do you buy or sell WWE's ability to prepare Seth Rollins for his match with Brock Lesnar at Battleground?
Oh, you have to buy this. There's no question here. Because there is absolutely no way that they are going to get Seth Rollins ready for it, and it's just going to look like an ass-kicking, and I think that's exactly what we're supposed to get here. So I think if that's the way they're preparing it...
question then.
I don't think you understand that no matter what they do, Seth Rollins would never be ready to face Brock Lesnar because it's Brock fucking Lesnar. The only guy who could face Brock Lesnar is maybe Mark Henry 10 years ago, maybe Big Show 60, 70 pounds ago, maybe The Undertaker 6 or 7 surgeries ago.
But see,
some of these guys that were in the prime of their career. This is Brock Lesnar.
No, but here's the thing. It's Seth Rollins. Like, at one point, this guy was a strategist. He was a tactician. He was... Do you remember the fact that this guy was standing backstage face to face with Brock Lesnar and showed not one drop of fear in any way, shape, or form? Do you remember the fact that
he should have?
The guy who... But... Well, shit, he's showing it now. All of the fear that he didn't show back then, it's definitely apparent now. But this was also the guy who curb stomped Brock Lesnar at, what was it, Night of Champions last year? This is a guy who's manipulated situations. He's planned. He's did all of these great things. But honestly, I believe that where he's at right now, see, I look at preparation a little differently than you do. I look at it as saying that at least you can fool me into thinking that this isn't going to be a slaughter, even if it actually ends up being that. But I don't think that they can, because there's been too much damage done to Seth Rollins' character at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and say sell. He's just dead man walking right now.
See, I remember all that. But at the same time, I'm buying the story that they're giving me, which is that everyone who sees this match setup says it's going to be a fucking bloodbath. So why am I looking at this and going, oh, well, now they need to make Seth Rollins look credible? This is like sending a guy out there. There's nothing you can do to make him look like that because everybody's got a plan until Brock Lesnar suplexes your ass. To steal a little line from Roman Reigns, everyone's got a plan until you get suplexed on your head.
I got 100%. I am. I was gonna say something very much the same, but I was gonna say I sell it, and that's not a bad thing because there's nothing they could do to make Seth Rollins on par with Brock Lesnar. It's not even a matter of booking. It's not a matter of anything except the way Brock Lesnar looks and who Brock Lesnar is next to Seth Rollins. It's just there's no comparison. And I think if they would have tried to make Seth Rollins a threat, I think that would have been a little bit more embarrassing because there's just no way. And I'm looking forward to the match because I want to see Seth Rollins get his ass kicked. Seth Rollins, for me, is a very successful heel because, especially during that match with Ambrose, I was dying for him to lose. I just want him to get his ass kicked, and I would love for Brock Lesnar to be the guy who did that, especially after he took his title. I just want to see him get beat down.
I aspire to more. Like, I know he's going to get his ass kicked, but I would love to see the return of the strategist, Seth Rollins. I guess that's just...
Yeah, but no amount of strategy, like Duke said, going to overcome Brock Lesnar. I mean, you could try, and I'm sure Seth Rollins would be employing some pretty intelligent tactic match, but in the end, Brock Lesnar is going to catch him, and then he's going to get his ass kicked, and that's just how it's going to be. And if it's any other way, I can't buy that. You put Seth Rollins in with Brock Lesnar, I just expect him to get his ass kicked, especially after what happened to John Cena and Roman Reigns. You know, if those guys couldn't stay with Lesnar, then there's no way in hell I could believe that Rollins has a chance.
But
Like,
know
shit,
that Brock Lesnar is not winning that championship.
But shit, you know, they
I
can do
disagree. I
all
think
of it.
Brock.
I was gonna say they could have done anything with Seth Rollins. You could have had Seth Rollins end the streak. Could have had Seth Rollins beat John Cena clean at WrestleMania. You could have had Seth Rollins do all these multiple things. As soon as Brock Lesnar goes out there, you're just thinking, "Oh, this motherfucker's getting his ass kicked." There's no possible way that you look at Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins and don't think, "Oh, this guy's gonna get his ass kicked." So I don't know why you would try and make it look like he's not going to, because I just can't see that being profitable.
I think Brock Lesnar is the one guy you can get away with doing squash matches with these days. Like, people will be entertained by a Brock Lesnar squash match, especially if it's like 20 minutes long.
I was at SummerSlam last year, and that pretty much that was a squash match, and I fucking enjoyed that one. But I still we're talking about the match here. We have weeks of build-up. Until then, I would like to see a little more from Seth Rollins, but I just don't know if we're actually going to get there. But what I want to get to now is Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. As we all saw at Money in the Bank, Bray Wyatt interfered in the Money in the Bank ladder match and pretty much cost Roman Reigns the victory there and becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. So we got an explanation on Monday Night Raw. This is kind of something that we already knew, but it's just that with Bray Wyatt, his little colorful language and the way in which he describes things. But basically, here's the scenario. Bray Wyatt felt as if he should have been in that match. And if he had actually beat Roman Reigns a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, he would have been in that match. But, of course, Roman Reigns won. He got his spot there. And Bray Wyatt went on this tirade talking about how Roman Reigns was going to now be the victim of the same justice that he used to fight for. He talked about the chosen one in WWE, how Roman Reigns reminds him of him, and he even went as far as to mention Roman Reigns' daughter in relation to Father's Day that's coming up. So a lot going on, a lot to digest, a lot going on separately with these two guys in WWE, two up-and-coming stars. Now they're feuding with each other. Do you buy or sell the potential of Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns?
You have to buy this one as well. I think that this feud looks phenomenal on paper. And just from what we got from Bray Wyatt, this is the first time that the nonsense made a lot of sense. Like, everything that he was saying, I actually looked around, I was like, you know, Bray Wyatt's really got a point here. Like, everything seems to, like, play in really well. This could be a feud that could help both guys. I mean, I think one person has to go over, and that's the problem. Like, you have to choose one person to go over in this feud when they could both use to win. But this is definitely,
you think
like,
that's
as
going to be
feud,
a difficult choice there?
Well, I don't know. I'd go with Bray Wyatt personally, just for the sake of pushing back Roman Reigns for a little bit. But I mean, you can do whatever you want. Honestly, they could come back, have Bray Wyatt win, kind of run one of those things where he has to beat Bray Wyatt at a later pay-per-view to like establish himself as a contender for the championship, and that could be their way of pushing off the triple threat with the Shield. You could do whatever you wanted here, and I think it's actually got a lot of fun possibilities.
Evan?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about this one for different reasons. I think on paper, like Duke said, it's a very good feud. I'm very cautious about it because I've seen Bray Wyatt's feud before, and I know every time someone feuds with Bray Wyatt, they come out of the feud as if they hadn't feuded with Bray Wyatt. And actually, lately, it's been the same for Bray. He comes out of the feud as if he had never feuded with the guy that he feuded with. After he lost to The Undertaker, he just carried on as if he had beaten The Undertaker. So I don't know. But what makes me buy it is the fact that he held up that picture of his daughter. I thought that was a very nice touch because that was a very personal thing, especially after we all saw that commercial. We all saw that commercial, and I think all of us were thinking the same thing, which is that, oh, this doesn't make Roman look very strong. I mean, but what I do like is what you mentioned, how Bray Wyatt said that Roman is going to fall victim to the same justice that he once employed. Because when I look at the Shield and I look at what they meant by justice, I always go back to the first promo they ever gave, which was with Michael Cole. And they pretty much explained that they don't appreciate how WWE has turned into a popularity contest. They don't appreciate how the winners are sort of picked by the authority. There was no real authority back then, but there was still this, John Cena's push to the top. And now Roman Reigns is that guy who's being pushed to the top by WWE. That he's the very guy that the Shield would have taken out back in the day. So I really like that aspect of it. And I think it could be a great feud if it's done correctly. If Bray Wyatt beats Roman down and demoralizes him to the point where Roman Reigns comes out of this feud a new guy, have him beat him to the point where Roman Reigns has to, ditch the vest, ditch the theme song, get a whole new persona in order to beat the monster Bray Wyatt, then I think that's a very successful feud. But if it just ends with Roman beating Wyatt and then both guys going on, they never even feuded, then, well, I guess I sell that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and buy this because it's kind of tough for me to do that because, like you said, Evan, you were talking about how Bray Wyatt's feuds, they don't promote any kind of change when they actually should. So it's kind of like it's like two wrongs in this situation because in some feuds they're not supposed to promote any kind of change, so no change happens. But when you get a Bray Wyatt feud and you kind of get that feeling that like this guy is touching you in a very, that sounds weird, I'm not even going to say that. But he's like affecting you in a very personal matter. But one thing that I can say for Bray Wyatt, for his benefit, he is an absolutely amazing antagonist. And I listened to everything that he said on Monday Night Raw, and I sat there and I was watching Roman Reigns, and I was like, damn, I really need to see how this guy is going to respond to this because Bray is so great at being an antagonist and getting to people, like cutting them really deep. And that picture of Roman Reigns' daughter, like, man, like I really want to know if Roman Reigns can rise to the occasion in this feud, and it's going to be very interesting to sit back and see if it's possible because Roman Reigns is a very what's the word I can use here? Simple guy. Because as you can see on Monday Night Raw, he's like, I don't want to talk. Just come out here so I can punch you in the fucking mouth. So it's gonna like I need to know how he's gonna react. But like on paper, I'm gonna say bye for Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns.
It's interesting that you say he's a very great antagonist because I agree with that actually a lot. Because I think about Bray Wyatt's feuds and I look at like the running theme, and at this point I'm almost convinced that Bray Wyatt is not really a bad guy. He is just assuming the role of the villain because from his perspective, what he wants to do is sharpen the heroes and he wants to challenge them. And I think there's a part of him that wants to be beaten. He wants to be proven wrong. And I kind of got this when he was feuding with The Undertaker, because it almost seemed like he was begging The Undertaker to beat him. And I almost get the feeling that he wants to be proven wrong, because he has a cynical outlook on life. He wants to know that there are still heroes. And he challenges them on these virtues that they claim to have. And he wants to see, are they going to fall to the antagonism, or are they going to prove themselves to actually be who they say they are?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that, because I literally said that out of this feud, from this feud with The Undertaker, like, Bray Wyatt is an Undertaker mark. Like, he challenged him just because he wanted to be in the ring with The Undertaker. And hell, if you judge by his reaction to the match, you know, he lost and didn't make much of it after that. So that's very interesting little assessment of Bray Wyatt that you bring up there. But I guess we'll see what happens with Bray and Roman. I am crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. These are two very good young up-and-coming talents in WWE, and the hope with this is that it would elevate both of them. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that turns out. Now,
you could say they're kind of Triple H and Rock-like.
No.
I can't believe you said that.
Okay, so speaking of young and up-and-coming talents in WWE, Kevin motherfucking Owens. This guy lost at Money in the Bank, but he came back in very spectacular fashion. So apparently, John Cena is friends with Machine Gun Kelly, because he gave him a shout-out on Monday Night Raw before his performance. And, yeah, Kevin Owens gave Machine Gun Kelly a shout-out of his own by powerbombing him. Yes, that was interesting.
That was amazing. That was great.
Yeah, shit, that was one of the best moments of the show. If it were not for Brock Lesnar, that probably would have been the number one.
He didn't even powerbomb him. If you look at it, he threw him. Like, he hoisted up his shoulders. He just tossed him. Like, it was barely a powerbomb.
Yeah, and I was watching Kevin Owens' Twitter. He's amazing on Twitter. A few minutes before he appeared on the show, he sent out a tweet, and he was talking about how he was going to sit down and watch this wonderful performance from Machine Gun Kelly. And when he came out and, you know, threw his ass, I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand. But, yeah, so before we get the moment with Kevin Owens launching the guy off the fucking stage, we actually had a promo that he cut earlier on in the night where he explained his actions at Money in the Bank, where he said that basically John Cena was not being genuine when he extended his hand for Kevin Owens to shake. He was pretty much being an asshole. And he said that the next time that they meet in the ring, he would love it if the United States Championship was on the line. So, with all of that being said, do you buy or sell the fallout from Money in the Bank between Kevin Owens and John Cena?
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to buy it, because I think the feud has been fantastic. So for them to keep it going,
you sound a little nervous though.
See, I'm nervous because I don't know if they're ready to take that title off John Cena. So I'm almost like more nervous that they put it on the line now.
Because that means that he'll probably lose the next time, or that's what you said.
I honestly, I think that they're gonna put Kevin Owens over here, but at the same time, like, if they were, doesn't it seem like it'd be more of a moment for SummerSlam? Like, doesn't that seem like the kind of match that you would want John Cena in for a SummerSlam? Something big like that? Especially if you're going to try and put over this new, young, up-and-coming talent. And then the whole thing just feels off. Like, it feels like there's nothing they could do but have Kevin Owens win this championship. But the whole concept just, like, feels wrong. And I'm really nervous about that.
I think it's pretty obvious that they not only will they have a match at SummerSlam, but I bet they'll have a match at the pay-per-view after SummerSlam, because that's sort of the theme with Cena these days. I mean, I'm buying this. It's so good. To me, this is one of the best feuds in recent memory, and because it's so real. Kevin Owens offers this perspective that is so genuine. You know, a lot of the times when heels do this kind of thing, like they reject the handshake and they beat him up, it's always sort of like shoehorned in, like the explanation. Like, they just give BS explanation. Like, I'm the bad guy. That's what I do. But with Kevin Owens, like, you could feel like he actually believes that when Cena offers his hand to him, he's not being genuine, he's being disrespectful.
And it made a whole hell of a lot of sense too.
It made a lot of sense, and especially if you watch the interview he gave with Michael Cole, it just came out yesterday, I think. He explains that that he appreciated when Cena took him aside when he first got to Raw and sort of said, "I'm proud of you." He said he felt very honored for Cena to do that, but for Cena to do it in front of everyone was a clear sign of stealing the spotlight. And I don't think when Kevin Owens says these things, like, I don't feel like he's just being a heel, you know? Because a lot of times heels just feel like that. Like, that's what heels do. They just be assholes. But when Kevin Owens says these things, I truly believe that that's his perspective. And he really believes what he's saying. And that's why I buy all of this.
Yeah, and what was so great about what he said is that it works on two different levels, because for the people who dislike John Cena, they're going to listen to what Kevin Owens says, and they're going to be like, well, shit, he's right, because if you take into account the fact that John Cena extended his hand after he beat him, after John Cena beat Kevin Owens, he didn't say that Kevin Owens belonged in the ring, like he didn't give that big show of support after the match at Elimination Chamber. Actually, I was reading a wrestling news website, and there was somebody who did a report. He was actually there live to watch the show, and he said he literally has never seen a wrestler leave the ring and head to the back as fast as he did John Cena in that moment. So it's like after you get your ass kicked, zoom to the back. Then when you kick his ass, then you want to shake his hand. And it seemed very patronizing. So it works that way for the people who dislike John Cena. And for the people who like John Cena, they're just going to look at it and say, dude, you're just mad that you lost. Like, you're just pissed off at that. So I think it was an amazing promo, amazing explanation. So I buy the hell out of it. But one thing that I don't buy, and I hope this does not happen, John Cena, please don't get on TV next week talking about how much you like MGK and how disrespectful Kevin Owens was. Because shit, MGK performing on Monday Night Raw, that was what was disrespectful. All Kevin Owens did was save us from the fuckery. So,
hey, I like MGK. MGK's actually pretty good.
But you know, he's going to say that because he's John Cena. And whether or not he likes MGK, that's not the point. The point is WWE brought a guest on the show, and Kevin Owens beat up their guest. And that's what he's going to say. And there's some merit to that. Like, what the hell is his problem? From an objective point of view, like, he just threw their guest off the stage.
Well, doesn't that make it seem weird? Like, for people like us, we don't... Well, I don't give a fuck about MGK. Like, if you put a gun to my head right now and told me to name an MGK song or you were going to pull the trigger, I would have no choice whatsoever but to get right with God. Like,
Sail, Swing Life Away, Wild Boy, Laced Up. Do you want me to keep going?
No.
Didn't Machine Gun Kelly do Cena's song, or am I imagining that?
Yeah, no, he did. He played Cena out to WrestleMania 28. That's why this actually makes a lot of sense. Like, this whole powerbomb thing, like, this whole thing actually kind of connects. So for Cena to come out and address it, I feel like that would make a lot of sense for Cena's character, because this is somebody that we know has is established as this is one of those guys who's friends with Cena, because he played him out on fucking the biggest stage of them all. He played him out to WrestleMania for his match with The Rock.
Yeah. Actually, I really want to talk about, just for a moment, appreciate what, because I was thinking, I'm like, who's watching this? Nobody cares. Why don't they use these guys in an angle or something? And then to see Owens out there and to see him give the powerbomb to the guest music was great. I hurled like that onto the outside. I'm glad it's in an angle, because it's just so annoying when they just bring him in and then they go away and then it's like, okay, what did we just watch?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably the only way that I would want to see a celebrity on the show too, if they were getting power bombed. So I think.
See, I like some of the involvements we get. I like some of the involvements we get, like using the Entourage guys to bring out Zack Ryder. That was kind of cool, especially with the whole thing being in New Jersey. I thought that was actually well executed. Back when they used Hugh Jackman with the Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler thing. Actually, I guess it's really just a lot of bring them out with Zack Ryder, and for some reason, Zack Ryder's like your celebrity guy.
Yeah, I guess that's what
he seems to be that guy who works with them. And, I mean, if they want to do something with Stephen Amell for SummerSlam with Stardust, if that's actually still happening, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
But see, I know him. Like that's cool. I know Stephen Amell. I'll watch Arrow. That's cool with me. I'll rock with that. But MGK, I don't care.
Yeah, but those guys, all the guys you mentioned, they're more guest hosts. MGK is like occasionally they'll just bring out a band to do a song, and nothing happens ever with them. So I don't have them in the same category as the other guest hosts. To me, it's like there's guest hosts who always do like a promo with the superstars, and then there's the musical acts that kind of just are inserted into the show because, I don't know, Vince thinks that we want to be at a concert. I'm not sure, but I'm really glad they used them for something.
See, I big props to MGK too for taking that throwing powerbomb. Like, I don't know how many people that you could actually get to show up and play your show who would be willing to do something like that. So that he definitely gained a few more points in my book from that as well.
Okay. Alrighty, next up, we're going to talk about Tough Enough. Did you guys happen to watch the network special that they aired, the competition special, yesterday?
Got through bits and pieces.
What about you, Evan?
No, I didn't see that at all.
I feel like I'm the only one that's excited about this season of Tough Enough. Like, I am so fucking excited to see this show. And so, basically what I'm asking you guys, are you buying or selling Tough Enough returning? Because it will be here in less than a week, and I am so excited I can't wait to see it, so I am buying the hell out of it. But what about you guys?
I'm selling it.
What?
Why are you selling it?
I don't care for Tough Enough, man. I just don't, because I can't name the number of guys who have won Tough Enough and just never appear. It's a joke to me now. Actually, the best moment of Tough Enough, it was when Stone Cold punked out Cameron for
That actually was the best moment, but
match.
Yeah, that honestly was probably the best moment of the season myself.
I don't know. There's a lot of really good moments from season 4 with The Miz, and there's actually quite a few. What did you say?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, well, there's good moments there, and I still really like going back and kind of watching some of like the skills challenges from this last season. And I actually thought Jeremiah was so exciting and fun to watch in every single one of those. So I thought there was quite a few highlights at Tough Enough. And I'm actually really disappointed we don't get to see him as a character.
I'm here with I'm with Kyler, who's commenting in the chat right now. He says, "Who cares? The show itself is awesome." Like, I guess it's one of those weird things where you kind of have, it's all dependent upon the value that you place on the competition, because I'm one of those type of people where I don't care if the people don't go anywhere. Of course, that's like the optimal situation, because shit, it's a show that where it says its objective is to find the next star in WWE, or shit, to find a star at all, or find somebody we can hire. But I don't really care about that, because for me, I see entertainment value in the show on a week-to-week basis. And I guess that's the thing, though. Like, if you feel as if you're watching a show and you're investing time specifically for the purpose of seeing the start of the career of someone that you can end up following in WWE, if that's your purpose for watching and you don't get that from the show based off of all of the crap that has happened, then you're not going to like it. But if you're the type of person like me who just likes reality shows, period, then you're probably going to love Tough Enough. So I am
I could definitely see the entertainment value. Fault anyone for liking the show. It's just that this is inherently like a joke by this point. And I agree that the show is entertaining. and I might watch it for some of those reasons, but I don't know. It just feels embarrassing at this point to me because they spout all this stuff like we're looking for the next top star. Do you have what it takes? It's like the guy who wins is probably not even gonna ever show up again, and the guy who loses, like all the guys who lose, will probably come in and they'll be stars for some reason. It's just like I don't know. To me, it's like when the stakes are not there, I lose interest very quickly.
See, I like at the same time, I think this has been a success for WWE because even though you haven't brought in those winners, I mean, if you look at just four different names here of people who have come up that have actually been from Tough Enough, you had John Morrison, you had The Miz, you have Ryback. A lot of people don't remember that.
Yeah.
And you have Cameron, and three of those four people have made your company quite a bit of money and have actually gotten you a return on your investment. So at least it puts these guys in the WWE's radar going forward. So even if they don't make the cut, you're going to see some of these guys, they're keeping close tabs on them afterwards based on what they've seen on the show. So,
Hey, look, man, The Miz has main evented, all right? Don't say anything bad about him.
No, I like The Miz.
You said 3 out of 4.
I'm referring to Cameron.
I know.
Yeah, I do not say bad things about The Miz. I think he's one of the best heels they've got on their roster.
Okay, I see what you did there, Evan. Okay, yeah, I see what you did there. Okay, so yeah, Duke, I think you just left my good graces though, because the next topic that we have to discuss is Sheamus. And I don't know what the fuck is up with you and this weird little hate on that you have for Sheamus.
Man, you don't like Sheamus? Sheamus is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh my god. I hate Evan, leave.
Wait a minute, why? I don't understand what is there to dislike about Sheamus. I honestly think that he's one of the best heels that WWE has to offer today. And of course, he is Mr. Money in the Bank now. I mean, what?
He's great. I mean, this whole repackaging has been, to me, a great success. Other than maybe losing to Ziggler wasn't a good idea, but he could still recover from that. I mean, he has the new Titantron. The new entrance, to me, is amazing. His hairstyle looks kind of silly, but in a way, it's kind of badass. Like, if you look at it as, like, he's this, like, Irish Viking or something. Like, the repackage just feels like he's a new dude right now. And it kind of reminds me of Jericho when he came back with the new gimmick, and also when JBL did it. I know those were more radical transformations, but this to me feels something like that. Like, it's a revitalizing of someone's career from pretty I don't give a shit about attitude. Like, before this return, I didn't care about Sheamus, and now I think he's pretty awesome.
So, what are you doing, Duke? Like, you seem as if you're, like, just over this conversation right now.
I'm over Sheamus. This guy is just absolutely a piece of shit. And
Why?
I don't think
What?
anybody...
Hold on. Wait a minute.
How are you going to say that, man?
Hold on. You know what? I think it's about time that we drop the hammer. Okay. So, apparently, you have some strong feelings about Sheamus, and I think it's about damn time that we set those feelings, we put them out and let the people judge, all right? So, you have arrived at the Empire's court. So
I'm excited to be here.
I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what are you charging Sheamus with?
I'm charging Sheamus with perjury and fraud because this guy came back telling everybody that he was repackaged, and if the people are the jury, that he is lying in front of the court because this guy, all he did was just change his appearance. There's nothing different about Sheamus, and there's been nothing different about Sheamus for 4 years. Just because you give him a stupid-ass haircut doesn't mean that this is any better of a wrestler. I haven't seen one new move from him. Just because you give him a new Titantron doesn't mean it's a new character. Honestly, this whole guy is just he's old, it's stale, and you can't just put a new packaging on an old face and expect me to forget it because it didn't work with Kane's mask. Why is it going to work with Sheamus?
See, here's the thing with Sheamus. If I had a very simplistic view of what character development in wrestling was, and I would be sitting here agreeing with Duke right about now. But unfortunately, for his argument, I don't have that simplistic view on character development. I look at Sheamus, and he has made great inroads on his character. Now, I will admit, though, that he does have some similarities that he's carried with him literally from the very first time that he stepped foot onto the main roster in WWE. A badass Irishman. That's the foundation of his character. Like, shit, if you expect for him to change that, that is not going to happen at all. There are many people out there who take things from gimmick to gimmick to gimmick with them. For example, Randy Orton, he's always been a little bit demented in every single one of his gimmicks. You have somebody like a Triple H, he's always had that kind of like holier-than-thou arrogance in every single gimmick that he's played. And CM Punk, he's always been an asshole, you know, just things that you carry from gimmick to gimmick. And when I look at Sheamus right now, I see a guy who he is great at what he does right now and the whole picture that is working together. It's kind of like in pro wrestling, you have to create an atmosphere around you. And then if you have all of those things working together in tandem, for example, your look, your entrance, your theme music, your in-ring ability, the way that you talk, the way that you move. And I look at Sheamus, and I think that he has all of that working for him. So I say Sheamus not guilty on any of the charges. These are actually very frivolous charges, and this shit should be thrown out of court if I have anything to say about it.
Well, I think the problem that you're looking at here is that you're viewing Sheamus as this character when you look at it, there's nothing different. Just because this guy disappeared for a little bit doesn't mean that they've changed him up. You're saying that there's character development. Why? Because he's picking on guys that are smaller than him? Because now he's Mr. Money in the Bank for no reason whatsoever? He isn't getting over. I don't think, like, this isn't the kind of heat where people are like, boo, I hate this character. This is, you look stupid. That's right next to X-Pac heat. And everybody who watched X-Pac knows exactly what we're talking about when we say X-Pac heat. That's the kind of get off of my TV. And that's exactly the feeling that I get. This guy hasn't changed up his moveset in 4 years. And while, yes, you can keep some things that are fundamental to the character from place to place, Sheamus is still the exact same person. There's literally nothing different about him except they made him look different. He hasn't changed any of the moves that he does in the ring. We still get every single thing. Every Sheamus match has the exact same moves. You don't see him pull out anything new. I mean, the springboard stunner looks terrible, but at least John Cena tries it. I mean, at this point, he might as well put it away, but at least he's tried doing something new. And the worst thing that he did was he took Money in the Bank from people who could actually use it to better their characters. Tell me that Roman Reigns wouldn't be made 2 to 3 times better because they gave him that Money in the Bank briefcase. And now, because Sheamus is the same person, it's just people kind of forgot that Sheamus is a piece of shit for a few months. Now we're going to be okay with giving it to Sheamus? This is absolutely ridiculous, and he is absolutely guilty of all of these things because the guy hasn't changed, and they're bringing him out there like he has.
Well, here's the thing. You want to talk about Sheamus picking on guys that is smaller than him? That actually is character development there. And I think that it's a great thing that the WWE creative team went with that for Sheamus's character, because I've mentioned this before on the show, and this is something that I've noticed myself, and I know a lot of people out there have noticed as well. We're in an era in WWE where things have changed. We've moved past the big muscled up bodybuilder era, and we're moving towards the smaller guys that you would normally see on the indies and things like that. You have people like Daniel Bryan in WWE. You have people like Neville. You have people like Sami Zayn. These are smaller guys that didn't really there's never really been a point in WWE where they have been the dominant guys in the promotion. And I think that we have moved towards an era where those guys, they're just coming in, and it seems like you have more and more of these guys coming in every single week. What WWE has done with Sheamus, they have their finger on the pulse of what the hell is going on, and they've taken this issue and they've planted it on Sheamus. So Sheamus is the guy who's going out there and he's speaking out on those things. He's talking about, where are the real men in WWE? Where are the guys who look like me? And he doesn't see those people, and it gets him pissed off. Now, for you to say that he hasn't made any changes to his moveset, that's complete bullshit. Because if you had actually watched some of the matches that he's had with people like Neville, people like Daniel Bryan, that is one of the most ruthless things that I've seen in WWE, where he was in the ring with Daniel Bryan, and this was on a recent episode of SmackDown, and he beat the fucking brakes off of Daniel Bryan. Actually, at the end of the night, Bryan was bloodied, and Sheamus pretty much smeared Daniel Bryan's blood across his chest. Now, if that's not a badass, if that's not change, if that's not something different, then I don't know what the hell is. I think the issue with you is you clearly do not like Sheamus, and you're holding him prisoner to sins of the past. And that's your issue with Sheamus right now. But I guess we'll go ahead and move on to our closing arguments right now.
I don't remember the right word for this, but is it the prosecution?
Yes.
All right. The prosecution would like to call a witness. We would like to call Jay for our closing argument.
What?
Jay, besides being a brawler, how many new moves, and I actually am talking about moves this time, have you seen Sheamus pull out?
I've seen him pull out a few. I know.
Can you name them?
Go back and watch. Actually, I cannot name the move because I don't know what the fuck it is, but I know it's a move where he puts Daniel Bryan up into the position for. Well, this is not just Daniel Bryan; it's anyone, but he puts them up into position for the suplex, and he just drops the person to the ground. And it looks like a botch, but it also looks like it hurts, and he's done it multiple times to the point where I know it's intentional. And like I said, it looks like it hurts, so that adds to the ruthlessness of his character.
See, and I understand the whole concept that he would be a brawler, but sometimes, like, everything that we've seen from a Sheamus match, you kind of get this same formula. And, I mean, although it kind of varies, it's always kind of the same. And then how can you really take that and say that that's a character development? And when, like, if he's not doing anything different, so sure, you bring him in and you're having him do these, like, okay, I'll give you a little bit to say maybe that fighting against little guys is character development, but what happens if Brock Lesnar wins that championship? Is he just not going to cash in until a little guy has the title? Is that something that we're going to look at? Because right now what we're looking at is, when you're saying character development, all I'm seeing is that Sheamus is a bully. Okay, he was a bully when he first debuted. All I'm saying is, I don't think this is a new Sheamus. I think this is just you seeing, oh, Sheamus is a heel again, so he's doing the exact same heel things that he's doing, but we put a different look on him, so I'm just going to overlook that and forget all the bad heel things that he did, and remember those 2 or 3 times Sheamus has been good, and act like everything else isn't there. I think you haven't seen enough from Sheamus to be able to say that Sheamus is awesome, and I think that, honestly, the fact that 95% of his track record says that this guy is bad and that he has not improved at all since he got into WWE, I think you're completely overlooking all of that, and you're just kind of marking out. You're saying, oh, cool, Sheamus is awesome.
Yeah, you're right. I'm overlooking all of that because it doesn't fucking matter. As you just proved my point, you're holding Sheamus prisoner to the past. You didn't like him before, so you come in with a biased view of who he is right now. And like I said already, he's a badass Irishman. That he'll never stop being that in WWE, but I'm not going to hold him prisoner to all of the years that WWE has gotten it so wrong, when now they finally have gotten it right, and Sheamus is now the person that he always should have been in WWE. And for you to mention the whole Money in the Bank situation, here's the thing. I have not said anything about Sheamus with Money in the Bank at all, because I honestly don't even know if he's going to get the fucking chance to cash it in, and I highly doubt that if he ever cashes in Money in the Bank that he'll even win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But that doesn't mean anything to Sheamus. That leans more towards WWE and their propensity to, as Charlie would say, WWE doesn't build stars, they tell stories. Sheamus doesn't fit into the fucking story, and that has nothing to do with him. That has to do with the fact that his name is not Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar. So him being Mr. Money in the Bank, I'm not even going to attempt to argue that. What I'll say is Sheamus is firing on all cylinders right now, or at least he was. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but all I'll say is that WWE has done a great job of adding layers to his character, like I talked about with him attacking the little guys and having their finger on the pulse of what's going on, and just everything that comes together to make a professional wrestler and to make an attraction. Because if we were to talk about somebody like a Finn Balor, and I say, what's the most awesome thing about Finn Balor? I guarantee you, most of the people who answer that question, one of the first things they're going to mention is his entrance, the body paint. And that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with what he does in the ring, but it adds to his character. That's layers to his character. And Sheamus, he has those layers to his character. So for you to say he's committed fraud and perjury, that's bullshit, and I say my client is not guilty. So I guess it goes to the people now. And let's see if this turns out the same way that it did the last time around. I don't know about this, but people, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, vote guilty or not guilty. Do you think that Sheamus is guilty of, what did you charge him with? Perjury?
Perjury and fraud.
Okay. So go ahead, let us know whether he's guilty or not guilty. In the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to our final segment of the night, the Swerve. This is where we choose one wrestling story out of the week and go ahead and give a face turn or a heel turn on that story. Duke, what do you got?
I think I'm going to have to turn heel. Yeah, turn heel on Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Mostly because I'm not interested in seeing that right now. I just don't think that's the direction they should have went. I think the whole thing is just going to kind of play out to be dumb. And ultimately, I think we're going to see something dumb end up happening where we have like Seth Rollins retain the title. Although Brock Lesnar needs to walk off with it, and I think it's going to be dumb. I just think the whole thing, there's no way this could go well. So I'm going to have to turn heel.
Okay, Evan, what do you got?
I'm going to turn heel on you, Jay, because when I was listening to that argument, I don't know, I'm kind of buying what Duke said about Sheamus now that I think about it.
So, oh God.
Because I'm thinking about...
Why does everybody use this to turn on me?
Because I'm thinking about how he has the Money in the Bank, and I love Sheamus's new his whole gimmick, his whole entrance thing, his new theme song. But now that I think about it, he does have the Money in the Bank, and I don't know what place is there for him in this landscape. You said that maybe he won't even win, but then why even give him the thing?
Because shit, it had to go to somebody that they did. All that they knew is that they didn't want Roman Reigns to win. But like I said, I'm not even hitching my wagon to that. I don't. It's tough. Like, I like Sheamus, and a few months ago, I would have said that this guy could possibly have been pegged for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture, but I honestly don't think that there's any room there for him. But like I said, that has nothing to do with him. It has to do with WWE. Like, all they're concerned with is telling a story, and if you don't fit into that story, then too bad, so sad for you.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they could always find a way to put Sheamus in there, but it's hard to see where he would fit. I mean, when I look at it, I see a potential for a badass Sheamus versus a face Brock Lesnar, but I don't know if they have the level of discipline that it would take to make Sheamus the badass that he could be. I mean, he could be a decent contender next to Lesnar. He looks like someone who could take on Lesnar in a bar brawl or something. More than Rollins does at least. But I don't know. It would take a lot of work to get him to that point.
Yeah, that'd have to be like that. Honestly, you'd have to say like Seth Rollins cashed in at WrestleMania. Like he's gonna have to cash in at Money in the Bank, like the night before Money in the Bank, for me to believe at that point that he's ready to face Brock Lesnar. Because this is Brock Lesnar, and assuming that Brock Lesnar eventually walks away with this title, which I can't imagine any way that he won't eventually end up with that title. It's Brock Lesnar. This is Sheamus we're talking about. Yes, he's been beating up the mid-card. Not to mention you don't even have the stories. Like, you don't even have the stories to set him up against a Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, or Seth Rollins. So if any of those guys have the title, at least at the beginning it's not going to be a good feud because you can't, like, you're not just going to create it out of air and then some of these guys have to be face. Can you really have Roman Reigns work a really good program at the main event level with Seth Rollins? Can you have Dean Ambrose and Sheamus work a really good program? Like, do you even want to put the championship on Dean Ambrose for Sheamus to do that? Like, there's a lot of things that you have to look at here, and I think that all the pieces are moving in ways where this just isn't something that's feasible. And I think they're going to have to really see that, and I think WWE might actually have a huge problem on their hands here, bigger than they expected.
Alrighty, I was gonna turn heel also on Dolph Ziggler's jean jacket because he looks kind of ridiculous.
I agree. He's looking way too much like Billy Gunn these days, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
He looks like he hit the corner just in time to see the bus fly by, but I realize that I'm okay with that because I actually like Saved by the Bell, so I'm going to go ahead and turn face on Dolph Ziggler in his Kelly Kapowski jacket.
Oh, snap. That swerved me.
I'd turn face on that. I like it.
Yeah, and I'll turn face on it even more now that he actually spelled Megadeth correctly. So, yeah, not that I care, but, just little stuff like that. Nuance. But the people in the chat are saying that Sheamus is guilty. So
see, you had to know it was going to go that way. I mean, I'd be undefeated in Last Mark Standing on PWTR. You can listen to that on Mondays, by the way, after Raw. I would be undefeated in that if I didn't get screwed over. So anytime that you come at me with this
screwed
debate,
over though, and these are supposed to be
anytime you come at me with a debate, I'm gonna shut your ass down, Jay. Anytime, all right?
No, this is a kangaroo court. If this was actually based off of logic, you would have shot yourself in the fucking foot when you talked about 95% of his track record. That is against the law. You're not supposed to hold people to shit that happened in the past for the case that they're on right now. This shit would have been thrown out of court. This is a kangaroo court.
In Irish law, it's perfectly fine. And this is Sheamus we're talking about, so.
We are in America. Actually, this is PWF Empire. I make the law around here. So you know what? Sheamus, I'm giving him a pardon. So that's that. Sheamus has been pardoned. So that's it for this episode of PWF Empire Live. Thank you guys for joining us. Duke, you have any parting shots to deliver?
Once again, just wanted to let everybody know, Sheamus is a piece of shit, and Justin's fucking crazy. And Manny's an idiot for ever letting him win.
Evan, you have anything? Are you feeling back to being yourself a little bit now?
No, actually, I was gonna apologize once again for feeling the way I'm feeling, and I don't know, I'm sure my color disposition is a bit different. I've been told by my close family members that I sound a bit different, so I know people grow to expect a certain a certain package that comes with the Evan experience, and today I wasn't able to deliver that. But I'm sure next week, when the finalist is announced, he'll be able to make up for all that.
No, I still think next week you won't be feeling like yourself. So.
Well, we'll see how I feel.
But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of PWF Empire Live. We'll be back next week, same place, same time. Finally, we can say that. Damn, we're out of the woods with all of these WWE special events and stuff like that. We can say we'll be back next week, same place, same time. PWFempire.com, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully you'll be back right along with us. On behalf of my hosting panel here, Evan and Duke, I'm Jay. Catch you on the flip side. Peace out.